Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show. Tune in for a vibrant mix of fashion, finance, and life's essential foundations. Join us for expert interviews, insightful discussions, and empowering insights to elevate your lifestyle. From fashion trends to financial tips and personal growth strategies, we've got you covered. So grab your headphones and get ready to be inspired. Tune in now to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show and embark on this exciting journey with us.
Welcome back, everyone, here at the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Talk Show. We're going to go continue our conversation with Annie Jean and David Young and my co-host Gianluca. So I know that you were talking about the living trust?
Benefits.
Living benefits. Okay, can you tell us more about that?
So for the policy that we are contracted to sell, it has been nation's top seller for the last 16 quarters, and there's a reason for that. One of the biggest benefits we offer is the living benefits, which it covers terminal illness, chronic illness, critical injury, and Alzheimer's disease. Wow. For all these coverages, there is no additional cost as a riders to add into our policy. And we have about 16 triggers to qualify a life situation that the insured can get claims from the insurance company. So it's a very generous and well-designed policy.
Wow. Okay. Wow. And David, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, this is what makes our, these policies that we sell, we call it life insurance that you don't have to die to be able to use, right? Because when we need the money the most is when we get sick in life, when there's unexpected events that occur during life, and sometimes having that money not kick in until after we're gone is too little and too late. And I know that I've met people that would certainly say that they would have rather had the money when they were alive or when their loved one was still alive so that they could afford the care and get them better care. Right. When they still had the opportunity to do so.
Okay, so as an example, what will be a good example to share to everyone? Maybe someone with an elderly care is needed. How does that work?
So I do have an example. It was told by one of our other agents that we are pretty familiar with. And she told us a story about her friend who had recently passed from vaping she had a lung disease that was brought on by vaping. She was offered life insurance before she got sick and they turned it down. And when she passed, she left behind a really huge financial burden on her family that maybe in hindsight could have been prevented. So,
As I remember that story, I think she's only in her 20s, right?
yes, she was
So young.
Yeah, she was only in her 20s when she passed away.
So you asked a question about older individuals, but your story is about younger individuals. Is it more important for young people to get insurance over older people? Is there a benefit of getting it sooner? Because most people's like, I'm young, I don't need life insurance. I'll deal with that when I'm older. Like what stories or what has your experience kind of told you about that perspective?
Young people absolutely have an advantage in comparison to older people when it comes to purchasing life insurance because it is ultimately a product that bases its pricing on risk. So when you're younger, there's less risk, right? So it's cheaper to buy it, right? The investment properties of it, you can get a lot more out of it with the money that you do put in. And there's also retirement benefits that build up if you get it young. And you end up saving an unbelievable amount of money getting it at 20 years old versus getting it at 30 years old.
So it's almost like another retirement? Is that what you're saying?
So there's many features that play into life insurance nowadays, especially with cash value life insurances and we particularly sell indexed universal life insurances, which allow for cash value accumulation based on an index fund, like the S&P 500, while also giving you the protection from losing the money that you do gain.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's different when you invest on stocks.
It's very different.
And when you do the living benefits, you have protection and you also get the same benefits when you're investing on
Yes.
mutual funds or stocks.
Yes, and we're all about protection. So even with your investments, right, the company credits you based on the stock performance. Your money doesn't directly go into the market. So you can't lose any of the money that you gain. We have this thing called downside protection, in which the market has a downturn, right? Let's say it drops 20% in a year, which it has in the past. You don't lose any of the money in your account.
So there's a protection.
Yes. Any money
if it
that
goes down lower than what?
any money that you gain is locked into your account.
So would you say it's more of a conservative approach?
It is I would say it's a perfect middle ground. Right?
Okay.
So with like you've sold variable life insurances before, and I would say those are like the highest risk and highest reward kinds of policies, because it can go up really high and then it can also come back down and crash you.
Right.
Right. And then there's also like whole life policies that really don't have any risk, because you sign a contract and you have your interest rate for until you die. Right.
Right.
So I would say IULs are in that perfect sweet spot where you can get a lot of the returns that you can get with like an investment straight into the market, while also having that assurance that your money is not going to leave you. You're not going to lose any money, that you can get a whole life policy.
Okay.
So we would offer protection and growth combined in one.
So is that better than putting it in the mutual fund? Sounds like, right?
Well, I would say it sounds like it's very customizable.
It is very
So I think
Okay.
better or worse is really dependent on like a individual situation.
Exactly.
But it sounds like you're able to customize these based on someone's better or worse,
Yes.
scenario.
Absolutely.
Because the same policy, we call it Index Universal Life, which is the bestseller. Other than the living benefits we just explained, you have the growth potential with a ceiling and the floor for protection. That's what David just mentioned.
Okay.
Same policy can be turned into a retirement income, a guaranteed retirement income, which is very exclusive just for our home. Not many insurance products out there has that feature. Also, it offers different other protections like mortgage protection. You can use it for a children's education fund. Have you heard of $1 Million Baby?
Oh, really?
Yes. People
Okay.
buy policy for their newborn. And because babies are very cheap, the premiums are so low. So time become their friends. And when the child grows to, let's say, college age, you can borrow some money from your policy for tuition. And maybe later on there's enough fund in there, you can use that as a down payment and then let it continue to grow for retirement, becomes retirement income.
Okay, so if I have, instead of doing a college fund program, it's best to do the life insurance because, okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out in terms of taxes and the tax advantage, what is the difference between the two?
The growth in your account is tax deferred. It can be tax free. Depends how you take money out of your policy.
Okay,
We encourage people to take out a loan against your policy, not withdraw, because withdrawal will cause a tax event,
okay.
but take out a loan against your policy is tax free.
And then you just have to pay it back. Is that what it is when you say loan?
It depends. Sometimes that's why there are so many situations we can play and design this policy. Sometimes you don't have to return. And the loan debt will just be deducted from your debt benefit.
Okay, I
So
see.
all the debt benefit, whether you use it or not, in the end, the balance or the whole of it will be tax-free for your beneficiaries.
That's really interesting.
Well, I learned something today.
Yeah.
Well, so Gianluca, I mean, you're familiar with life insurance?
Yeah.
Okay, and what do you think of so far what we've heard from them?
Sure. No, I think what I love about your approach is that you give information about it, but you're not saying left or right. You're not saying good or bad. You're not saying best or worst, right? And I think that builds trust because you understand the value of what you have, but you also understand that value is different based on the client's need. So I think I really enjoyed seeing that because there are a lot of agents in the industry who don't have that holistic approach. It's just like, this is the best, do this. And it's sometimes that approach can make people lose trust in insurance,
Right.
And I think is what you said at the beginning, you didn't purchase it because you didn't know and trust the person. But once, I think
That's right.
I think this show is gonna show a lot of the listeners that you guys are definitely trustworthy. You know your stuff and you're more concerned about understanding their situation
Yes.
and aligning what they need with what you can provide versus trying to just give them a solution that you think they need. And I think that's a breath of fresh air.
Thank
I
you.
love it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that we're learning that from you today, and I'm sure all the listeners are gaining all this information too. Now, do you guys do workshops or educate people in a different format?
We do a lot of trainings.
Okay.
We have this membership fee. It's only $125 permanent membership,
It's a one-time fee.
one-time fee, where you get access to all the trainings, teachings about policies, taxes, retirement planning, estate planning, children's education fund, all kinds of topics related, all included in this membership.
$125.
That's it,
One time.
one time.
Well, that's not a bad deal. Well, I hope everyone is taking notes. I mean, we're going to find out how they can get into that program and also how they can reach you. So, but don't go away because we're going to be back here on the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Talk Show.
Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show, where we talk about food, fashion, finance, and foundations of life. We are live on KCAA Radio Broadcasting Network. KCAA is affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sports. We are sponsored by Sheltered Studios, Fire Connect, and Building Solid Foundation.